Hey there guys, I am the Six Machine and welcome back to another Warhammer video. So we're back again with some more Nova reveals, and following on from the reveal of Horus himself, the other big thing a lot of people were hoping to see, of course, is the brand spanking new 23 years in the making KHORNE Berserkers for the upcoming World Eaters. We had already seen one of these guys shown off a little while ago, but at Nova they finally showed us the full 10-man squad of KHORNE Berserkers in all of their skull-taking glory, and by God do they look good. The original Berserkers were for me such an iconic kit, and I can still remember putting together a fair few in my time over the years, but these have just taken everything that I loved about that original design and just ramped it all the way up to 11. The armor is glorious and has some fantastic looking trim, the weapon options look genuinely brilliant, and the helmets, which are always an absolute favourite of mine, just look spectacular. I am really glad that I will no longer have to kit bash any KHORNE Berserkers from the Age of Sigmar Blood Warriors kit, because that was always a bit of a pain. These guys are coming, and they are actually coming probably relatively soon, because in addition to the reveal of this World Eater squad, as a quick aside, we also got shown an upcoming 40k timeline, which you can see on your screen now, and as you might notice, I was kind of wrong in my video yesterday. The Votann are of course next, but then following them it is the Astra Militarum, and then following the Astra Militarum is going to be the World Eaters. But what is crucial to note is that it says both of those are coming in winter. So that does give us until the Jan-Feb timeline that I said, but with the Guard hopefully coming before Christmas, maybe October, November, that does just leave a few short months until the World Eaters, led by Angron and these crazed Berserkers, are going to be knocking down your door. The Berserkers themselves are mentioned to be a multi-pose kit, although there are definitely some duplicated leg poses here, so what I imagine they mean by that is that things like the heads, the shoulder pads, as you can see there is some where they have a bare arm and they've got sort of like a cataphracti style shoulder pad on the arm, which I think is quite cool. The backpacks, the banners, the weapons, all of that kind of stuff will be interchangeable. So I do think that there is still going to be a good amount of scope for making different looking squads, and with the choice between things like the helmeted option or the bare head showing off the butcher's nails and the weapons and everything, I do think it should be relatively easy to come up with multiple squads that do look almost completely different. I do have to admit, I personally wish there was maybe a bit more ornamentation on them, and by that I mean things like chains and skulls and, you know, chainmail and severed heads, that sort of thing. They really could have gone all in and made these guys look really bloodthirsty and crazed and wild, and I do feel they've played it a bit too safe in some ways. They do look very clean for Berserkers in my opinion, and yes, you can certainly grime them up and grimdark them up with a decent paint job, but having some extra skulls and chains dangling from their armor and belts would have been a nice touch, I think. I mean, who knows, maybe the kit will have more options and they've just shown off the ones here that are made relatively simplistically to show off sort of the main body itself rather than all the extra bits and details and doodads that you can put on. We will just have to wait and see. But I do think that if we had been able to see sort of all the extra bits and pieces that you could put on, even on just one or two of them, it would have been quite a nice touch. I suppose the only other thing is that even if they don't have that, it isn't that hard to find things like chains and skulls from the wider Chaos range from the Games Workshop collection. So if you do want to kit bash them a bit more yourself and add a bit more to them, you almost certainly could do that relatively easily. And I do think that they certainly look like they could 100% be made to look more of a gore-drenched, crazed look if that's what you want for your World Eaters. On the weapons front, as you can see, they do have a mix of chain swords, chain axes, both one- and two-handed varieties, as well as bolt and plasma pistols, so they do still have that typical Berserker weaponry that we know from previous editions. It is worth noting that as per the White Dwarf rules, which were shown for them a little while ago, they do just have a thing called a Berserker Chainblade now, which is a strength user -2 AP 1 damage weapon. I imagine this will remain the same in their book, and essentially just that you run either axes or swords as essentially the same profile, whilst the bigger two-handed versions of both will be maybe a somewhat beefier Marines Eviscerator style weapon, which for the Marines is strength +3 -4 AP 2 damage, so this would bring your Berserkers up to strength 8 when they swing. That's what I imagine they are going to have. I don't imagine they're going to have a different profile for the one-handed sword and axe and the two-handed sword and axe personally. But I mean, even if they do combine the profiles like that, from what we've seen, these guys are going to have 5 attacks each base, so a full squad of 10 at minimum is going to be chucking out 50 attacks when they go into your opponent. So even if they don't have the most wild weapon options available, it's still going to be a pretty scary prospect to have 10 of these guys charging headlong into your battle lines. But as always, what do you think of these new Berserker models? Are they what you were hoping for, or did you want more of a rage-induced, gore-drenched aesthetic for them? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me, but until next time, I'll catch you later, guys.